Hello, Day with Caleb. We are back with Why I Love Marvel. We did, last time we did a video Why I Love Disney. We touched on Marvel a little bit as the reasons why I love Disney. But now we'll do a whole video on why I love Marvel. You can see my shirt there. So we'll just dive right in. As a kid, I was a huge comic book nerd. Back before comic books were popular, it was the in thing to do. I would get bullied some for collecting comics, so I did keep it on the DL most of my childhood until it became popular. Then it was alright to do. But I would go to Toys R Us and get these mega comic book like value bundles. There was a lot of Gambit, a lot of X-Men, and of course a lot of Spider-Man. We talked about the 6th birthday party Cowboys of Mumasa. Shortly after that, I got my first Spider-Man action figure. There were these strings on the Spider-Man's hands, both sides, and it had like a little ball at the end of it, and it could wrap around different things, and he could hang on there. Cut off the strings on his hands, but I do still have that figure, so that's cool to do. And then early 2000s, we would go every year to Universal. Our aunt would get us in free at Disney, but then we would also, our parents would do these tours, like these timeshare things where people try to get you to buy timeshares. They would sit for hours and hours while we explored the resort and swam in pools and did basketball and stuff. But at the end of the tour, you would get obviously a huge discount on your stay, whether it was DoubleTree or whatever. But then you would get tickets to Universal and Islands of Adventure. So I always enjoyed that. Right at the cusp of when The Mummy was coming out, so Universal in the Horror and Makeup Show had all these mummy props. I need to do a video on why I love The Mummy, so I need to write that down too, but massive props. But anyway, Islands of Adventure next door had Marvel Superhero Island. Such a cool land. Of course, back then I didn't know the legal issues on park rights and stuff. Actually, last trip I wore Mickey ears that was Spider-Man, and I had a Spider-Man shirt on and socks, and this cast member came up to me and said, "You're repping both parks today," and it kind of took me back, like, "What are you saying, lady?" But she was referring to, I guess, in Orlando, Universal or Islands of Adventure technically owns Spider-Man, even though all the swag, if you will, all the clothes I had on were purchased from Disney. So I had like a 10-minute conversation explaining the legalities of who owns what, but she was not wrong. In Orlando, as far as theme parks go, the characters of Marvel are only at islands. That's why Epcot is getting Guardians, because there's like a gray area there. And California can have Spider-Man and all the Marvel characters. Anyway, I don't want to go down that rabbit trail, but what was I saying? Oh, Marvel Superhero Island, that was it for me as a kid. Spider-Man the ride was so amazing. Fun fact, Islands of Adventure opened May 28th, was it 2002? 2001? But May 28th is our birthday, so that's always fun to have Spider-Man linked on one of my birthdays, and obviously the ride is amazing, especially the updated Stan Lee cameos. I love that. So let's see. We'll get to the character of Spider-Man, such a essential part of my childhood with the animated series. Just the character, I could relate to Spider-Man and the stories growing up, being bullied. I was bullied in school briefly. We did get our revenge on him later in the semester, but I could relate to Spider-Man as a character, and that's why he became my favorite character of all time, hands down, nobody else. So it's fun for me. A few months ago, collecting all the, well, probably close to 6 months ago, or a year now, but collecting all the Spider-Man autographs and just anything Spider-Man related, everybody knows I love. So it's always fun collecting anything Spider-Man. And that leads me to my next point, Stan Lee. And we're doing pictures on the side, as always. Meeting Stan Lee is up there as one of, if not the greatest experience of my short life. 33 years, you think, I'm around the middle. I'm not young anymore. I'm not old. I'm kind of right in the middle there. But meeting Stan Lee, such a great experience. I just recently read, I'm reading through my journals. Yes, I write in journals. But I believe the end of 2014, if not 15, right in there, he came to Atlanta. And you would watch a video or watch interviews, and even though he's talking to the person that's interviewing him or talking to the crowd, it feels like he's talking directly to you. He had a magnetism that pulled you in, and it made you feel like you and him were on a one-on-one conversation. And that was true even when I met him in Atlanta. Going to his table, it felt like me and him were the only ones there. I gave him a couple gifts, a comic book me and my friends put together and drew, came up with the characters, and a movie me and my friends made with Jack 23 Studios. So he cherished those gifts. Hopefully he saw the movie before he passed. I don't know, and him telling me happy birthday, one of the greatest memories I'll ever have. But Stan Lee's such a great guy. When he started at Timely Comics, and just rising through the ranks to become the figure of Marvel. When you think of Marvel, you think of Stan Lee most of the time. You can't say that for DC. Bob Kane maybe, but you don't think of a figurehead as popular as Stan Lee with the cameos and everything. Love the cameos, his voiceover work with the animated shows and the games. So cool. Let's see, what else? The Disney Plus shows we did talk about when I did the I Love Disney, so I won't talk too much about that. The MCU films, what a great 10-year run that was, with all the intricate storylines and things building up to where they finally did end up. The after credits, that was a thing before, but they made it to such a level where every Marvel film you would stay after the credits. It just became a normal thing you did. And then the early Marvel film, well, there were other ones, but the more popular mainstream blockbuster, if you will, hits of X-Men, Bryan Singer, and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man actually had a Spider-Man premiere party when it came out on VHS. I invited all my friends over. We watched the movie. I had a trivia game after about Spider-Man trivia. The only person that collected comics besides me won, and he got this big Spider-Man pillow. I got two because I had to get one for myself, obviously. And I got him a Spider-Man movie poster, which also I got as well. Have to get doubles when you have a party and you collect Spider-Man. So those are most of the reasons why I love Marvel. Just captivating. Now, as far as rankings, Spider-Man's number one, Batman is number two, and then X-Men with Wolverine right there in third. Just a great company, and Spider-Man is one of the greatest characters ever made, and we owe that to Stan's wife, Joan, who said, go after your dreams. If you're going to quit anyway, try this character out. And I'm glad she convinced him, because now I have a character that I love and admire. That is all possible thanks to her. And so fortunate and blessed to have met Stan before he passed away. I read a lot of people say, man, I wish I could have met Stan, especially with Endgame and Infinity War. People were saying that. So very blessed to have met Stan the Man Lee himself, and all his catchphrases I forgot to mention. Nuff said, Excelsior, the bullpen he created, so iconic. All the cameos were great. So we'll end it with Nuff said, and keep collecting. I gotta do my catchphrase. Subscribe, share with a friend, like. Until next time, guys, Excelsior.